We're most grateful for this opportunity to hear the Minister for Digitalization and Communication address the House. And she began her pretty lengthy submission by saying that the SIM registration has come to an end with resounding success. Mr. Speaker, success is objective, and what she considers success may not be success in the mind of the ordinary Ghanaian. Mr. Speaker, the minister made the point that previous SIM registration exercises, which happened in this country in 2010, and the Minister for Communication at the time is sitting in this room, Honorable Haruna Idrisu, and he is the only person who's passed legislation for SIM registration in Ghana, as we still speak, LI 2007, was done in a way where you could not identify or verify the identity cards that were used. Mr. Speaker, let us state for a fact that we all support an idea of a clean SIM register in Ghana. But the minister cannot make a claim in these hallowed chambers that the process she has superintended today is any different from what happened in 2010 or 2012. Because it is a statement of fact, Honorable Minister, that your registration or re-registration process that you are carrying out is not undergoing any verification whatsoever. There is absolutely no biometric verification of the cards that are being presented or of the data that is being collected by the MNOs. And when you suggest to this Honorable House that your process is different and that you are doing a verification of the cards, in fact, let me quote you. In your speech, in your statement to Parliament, you quote, and I quote, "Every registered SIM has been linked to a Ghana card that has been verified by the NIA." Honorable Minister, with the greatest of respect, that is not factual. That is incorrect. I would not want to say it is a lie. Because, Mr. Speaker, let me read from the NIA, which is the single source of truth when it comes to biometric register in our country. I read an NIA letter signed by the Executive Secretary of the NIA, Professor Kenatefa, dated 13th September 2021, and he granted interviews on the 19th of January 2022 to reiterate his letter and stand by his position. This is what he says in paragraph 1A of that letter. The design and development of the process by which the NCA, acting by itself or through a third party, will collect and store biometric data of SIM card holders is exclusive to the NCA. The NIA does not have any input in the development of the said Android registration application, and for this reason, NIA is unable to confirm that the biometric data being collected by the NCA for the purpose described above will meet the standard to enable successful verification against the National Identification System database. This is what the Executive Secretary of the NIA has said and reiterated. And so, Mr. Speaker, the truth of the matter is everybody in this room and everybody in this country, including you, Right Honorable Deputy Speaker, who have gone to register your SIM with a Ghana card, your data has not been verified against the National Identity System because the NIA has refused to verify the data. And Mr. Speaker, the NIA is doing it because of a law that this House passed. Mr. Speaker, LI 2111, which is the LI that the minister bases the SIM re-registration on. She says she's doing this exercise under Section 7 of LI 2111. But LI 2111 doesn't end at Section 7. The minister should have proceeded to read Section 9 of LI 2111. And I read, Mr. Speaker, where an individual produces a national identity card to a person specified under Regulation 8.1 in compliance with a request, and that person has reason to believe that the national identity card was not issued by the authority, the person may ascertain the authenticity of the national ID card by using a portable identity card reader and it states what it should do. But the catch here is in 9.3. It says, the authority may by notice, published in the Gazette, specify the types of instruments approved by the authority as portable identity card readers for the purposes of this regulation. Mr. Speaker, again, I put it on record in this House that the NCA and the MNOs have not gone to the NIA to verify and authenticate the portable readers that they claim they are using, and it has not been published in any gazette. And so you are acting in violation of Section 9 of LI 2111, and it is on that basis. And if you reference the letter I read from the NIA boss, he actually quotes it in paragraph 2 of his statement, that on the basis of the fact that the NCA has not submitted itself to the NIA for verification, the NIA cannot verify the data. Mr. Speaker, that is the reason why honorable members and even the official phone number of the Speaker will face the challenges that it is facing. Because people have registered, but because they are registering through a third-party app that is not being authenticated against the national identification system, you have these problems. Mr. Speaker, my SIM card, one of my SIM cards has been blocked. And it is because I haven't registered, and I'll come to that. But Mr. Speaker, when I use the NCA's own short code, *400#, and Mr. Speaker, if the cameras could zoom in, they would verify what I'm saying. When I do *400# on my phone, the response that I get from the NCA through the MNO I use is this. And my colleagues here can verify. It states my name. What is my name there? George Samuel Nate. Then it tells me, please dial *404# to link your Ghana card to your SIM card. I have not sent any documents to the MNO. So how do they know my name if they don't have my details? Mr. Speaker,
Mr. Speaker, the statements made by the Honorable Sam George exhibit a marked misunderstanding or lack of appreciation of the process that has been put in place for the SIM card registration exercise. No entity is collecting and storing biometric data for this exercise. That is not what is being done. And no entity is using any device for that purpose, any portable reader for that purpose, which requires the prior approval of the National Identification Authority. It is palpably false to say that there is no verification with the National Identification Authority, because the initial stage of the process involves linking your SIM card with your Ghana card. Now, it goes directly and queries the database of the National Identification Authority. And that system was set up in close collaboration between the MNOs, the NCA, and the NIA. And that is how you start the SIM registration exercise ab initio. So before you even go on to collecting your biometric database, your SIM card is already linked with your Ghana card. And when you have, if you have done that, and you haven't done so, so you can shake your head. But for everyone who has done that, when you link your Ghana card with your SIM card, it sends you a unique code. And it is that unique code that will enable you to proceed to the second stage, to even do the biometric capture. Now, why are we doing that? Why did we institute the biometric capture phase? To weed out the possibility of the same Ghana card being used for multiple people, or well, it can be used for multiple SIMs, but for multiple people. And so just as if you were having a manual form filling exercise and affixing your photograph with it, and having you go through the subjective exercise of having an individual determine that the person sitting before me is the person whose photograph is affixed to this card, we decided to use digital technology and artificial intelligence to perform a likeness and liveliness check, as I indicated in my statement. And so instead of an individual deciding that this is Kwaku Mensah sitting before me, whose picture is on this Ghana card, the Ghana card is scanned, your picture is taken, and the system compares the photograph of the individual taking, applying for registration with the Ghana card. You don't need the NIA for this process because you're not collecting and storing biometric data. And that is why you exhibit a distinct lack of appreciation of the technical process that was put in place to conduct this exercise. And I indicated that it is a double factor authentication process that has been put in place. So instead of me deciding that this indeed is Honorable Sam George who is presenting his Ghana card, technology does it. And that's all it does. That biometric data, those fingerprints are not stored in any database. They are not stored, they are part of the process of deciding or determining that the individual sitting in front of me is actually the person whose image is on the Ghana card, and that's what you do not appreciate. So I will not belabor that point because today I'm also trying to quote a proverb. You cannot wake up a person who is pretending to sleep. You can never wake up a person who is pretending to sleep. How can you wake him up if he's pretending to sleep? You can't wake him up. And Mr. Speaker, I appreciate the concerns of members expressed about the Ghana card and the lack of it, which has contributed to some people being unable to register their SIM cards. And that is what has led to the multiple extensions of it. But as I indicated, some people genuinely had Ghana cards and had refused to register like Honorable Sam George. And what can you do about that person? You can't do anything about that person. The National Communications Authority has offices in all regions of this country. What we as members of parliament can do to help our constituents is to assist them to apply for the Ghana card. And all the NCA requires at this stage is evidence of having made an effort to apply for the Ghana card and not having received it. That's all the NCA requires at this stage. We cannot have a blanket exemption because we all know that some fraudsters are hiding behind the anonymity of this process to defraud others. And so if we give a blanket exemption, we're just allowing them to continue perpetrating their fraudulent activities on all individuals. So what the NCA requires at this stage is for individuals to apply for the card. You may not have received it. Apply for it. Send them evidence of your application for it. And your card will be exempted from the exercise. And Mr. Speaker, there is absolutely no institutional, how did you put it, hostility or turf war between the NIA and the NCA. They have worked very closely together so far. They constantly interact in this exercise, and they are continuing to do so. In the initial stage of the exercise, there was some misunderstanding on the part of these institutions when they assumed that we were going to use a particular mode to register this exercise and didn't understand, like you don't, the architecture that was put in place for this exercise. And the Honorable MP for Bumpurubu can assist his constituents to notify the NCA of any challenges that they may have in this exercise. It's also not true that the Data Protection Commission is not involved in this exercise. They are one of the stakeholders that have been part of this exercise from inception to date, I am not aware of any time that you confronted me in a committee meeting about this, and I was unable to give you a satisfactory answer. So your statement was factually incorrect, and I have to make that as forcefully as I can. As I indicated in my presentation, the Data Protection Commission is one of the institutions that were consulted as a key stakeholder in this exercise. So I'm not sure any official of the Data Protection Commission will come and tell you that they have not been involved in this exercise. It is also not correct that any entity involved in this exercise is not registered with the Data Protection Commission. That is factually incorrect. Every single entity, public and private, involved in this SIM registration exercise has been fully trained and is registered with the Data Protection Commission as a data controller. So kindly check your facts again. My information is that there are 7.9 million SIM cards that have been blocked. Even as we speak, several of those are being unblocked because they haven't been permanently blocked. They have been deactivated from receiving services, but as and when they regularize their status, they are quickly brought up on air. And I gave the statistics of those that have been reactivated. If you like, I can go through it again. MTN has reactivated 117,399 SIM cards from 1st to 6th June. Vodafone, 77,410 SIM cards, and Airtel Tigo, 30,335 SIM cards, just within that 5-day period. And I haven't received the statistics since then, but each day these cards are being reactivated. Mr. Speaker, extensive stakeholder consultation was held throughout this process. And as I indicated, a standing technical committee which meets weekly or bi-weekly, comprising representatives of all MNOs, the technical service provider, and the NCA, meet regularly to review the process of this SIM registration exercise. They also have a communications committee comprising representatives of all stakeholders, which meets regularly. And so I can confirm that extensive stakeholder consultation was held, is being held, and will continue to be held to facilitate the conclusion of this process. I agree with you about silo databases, and we'll have an announcement to make on that very, very soon. And Mr. Speaker, the Honorable former minority leader said I shouldn't congratulate myself. But to quote Chinua Achebe, the lizard which fell from the Iroko tree said that if nobody will congratulate him, he will praise himself.
Honorable Samuel Nate George says that he doesn't have a Ghana card. He wants that to be on record. I've said that for you. Otherwise, this is not supposed to be general.